So as usual, we got another very windy day today. Let's see how the video looks in the end. We've got a lot of video interference, probably reflections off the building. Oh, it's really windy. Actually, getting closer to the building is better for staying away from the wind. It's a little jittery in the FPV feed when it's getting hit by the wind, but overall not bad for these conditions. I'm running a Forest 1300 milliamp hour battery. I have no plans of running it all the way down. I'm sure it's going to get probably 4 or 5 minutes of flight time. You can run a lighter battery if you want and get less flight time, or a heavier battery if you want and get more flight time. Much windier up here, but still not doing too bad. Oh, okay, this wind is getting worse. Not even sure if it's going to show up in the GoPro footage at all after you process it with the Real Steady Go, but you can see it in the FPV feed. Anyway, 14.4 volts, 3.5 minutes of flight time. Pretty decent. Let me know what you guys think. Alright, so this is the updated Veyron for 2021, the Veyron30CR. They have a 2.5 inch version as well, the Veyron25CR, I believe. I don't have that one, didn't fly it. Of course, it has the 1404 motors like all the 2.5 inch ones have these days. I don't believe there was a 2.5 inch Veyron last year, so that's new, but it's all, the 2.5 inch looks like this as well. It's been about a year, maybe a little over a year since the original Veyron came out. And, it looked like a traditional 3-inch Cinewhoop back then. This one, fairly much the same. Obviously, they've done all the updates. They put in the new F7 stack with the 28 amp ESCs. They moved the USB port here up top, so it's more accessible and no need for any right angle adapters. So yeah, F7 flight controller, 28 amp ESCs, 350 milliwatt video transmitter. This is the analog version, of course, and Cadex Ratel camera. And of course, the biggest update is the motors. They've gone from the 1408s to these 2004 3000 kV motors. This is the 4S version. There is a 6S version. I think they have 1700 kV motors. Now, in terms of the weight, it's about the same. I think the original was around 258 grams, if I remember right, and this is around 255 grams. So, as you see here, without the battery, of course. It says an XM Plus receiver, hammer, antenna here in the back for the VTX. The construction is a little bit different in terms of the frame. So they have this carbon bottom plate. I believe it is 2.5 millimeters thick. And there used to be a carbon top plate, which is now gone, which went around, actually, I'm sorry, the carbon top plate that went all around the ducts, that's gone now. And then they just have this carbon top plate here for the battery area and the camera. And these ducts here are not 3D printed. You might think they were, I thought they were, but they're not. They're injection molded plastic, and you can see the little, I don't know what these are called, but those are from the mold. So yeah, these are fairly tough. This thing could take some abuse, I think. And of course, the way that they've got this engineered with these little bumpers here is also act as landing feet. You know, if you have things over here in this corner, it should be able to survive some fairly good crashes. Of course, obviously not intentional abuse like running over this thing with a truck. It'll probably break with it for sure. And then they've designed these little plastic ducts here, or prop guards, to hold the foam, which is these little pieces here. And you just basically slide in to the side like so. Of course, when you have the foam guards on, if you're flying indoors, it's going to be louder than with the foam guards off. In general, these 5-bladed gem fan props are pretty loud anyway. These prop guard ducts do have a little bit of a lip here, so I'm not exactly sure how much that helps in terms of efficiency, noise, or power, because there are these nice big gaps here. So maybe a little bit in terms of noise reduction for that, but again, I didn't do any scientific testing on that. But yeah, it's updated design, basically updated electronics and updated motors. And yeah, I'm glad that they're finally moving to basically the fatter motors with the lower stators for these Cinewhoops, because putting racing motors on a 3-inch Cinewhoop is kind of, not really ideal for the kind of flying you're doing, because they're basically taking 3-inch racers, which were running 1407s, 1408s, 1507 motors, and then putting them in Cinewhoops, and it's a different kind of flying, so you need a different kind of motor, and now they're starting to catch up. It's a little bit late to the game. I think a lot of people that have been doing DIYs have already been moving to the 2004 motors or something similar, basically a lower stator and a wider stator, and that's been the trend for a while now. I think now the bind and fly manufacturers are finally catching up. But yeah, this is it. You saw the flight footage already. Pretty decent. It doesn't fly good in the wind, of course, like any Cinewhoop. And again, lately it's been very windy. So you're seeing the GoPro footage here, stabilized, of course, with real steady go, because that's what most people will do with a Cinewhoop. So that's why it's stabilized. If you want to see what it flies like in the wind, you can watch the FPV footage, which is going to be in the corner, which you saw already. And it gets bounced around in the wind. That's nothing surprising at all. Now your flight time is going to vary. Now I have flown it with a smaller battery. I flew with an 850, and this tune is meant for a bigger battery, so I also flew with a 1300. It flies better in terms of the way it feels with the 1300. Of course, even with this bigger battery in the wind, it just gets pushed around too much. So if you do happen to fly this in the wind, maybe even go to a bigger battery, like an 1800 4S. This will carry it for sure. The 2004 motors have plenty of power, so I wouldn't be worried about that. You get a lot more flight time as well, the bigger battery you go. So smaller battery, less flight time, bigger battery, more flight time. If you guys are wondering what the flight time is, it's just going to totally depend on the battery you use, how you fly it, and the conditions you fly it in. So there's no set rule. If you go, so let's say on the super low end, lightest battery, not the most ideal conditions, maybe you're going to get 3 minutes. On the biggest, heaviest battery and under the most ideal conditions and the best flying conditions and the best flying style, maybe you'll get up to 10 minutes. So that's going to vary. I know you get the question all the time on flight time. It really just depends on a lot of other variables. All right, that's going to do it for this video. If you are interested in this model, there's links down below in the video description. There's a promotion right now on this model until the 25th, I believe. I think it's like 15% off or something like that. Of course, this is the analog version. I think it's for the analog version. I'm not 100% sure. I gotta check the link. There is a DJI version as well for both of these, 30 and 25. And of course, I haven't flown this, so I really have nothing much to say about the DJI versions, other than the fact that they're going to be a little bit heavier, so keep that in mind. That does affect a lot of things. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. Talk to you later.